Welcome into Bengals Breakdown. I am your host, Stone Shields. Thanks so much for joining us here on a Wednesday. And the focus of today's show is going to be JaMarr Chase and the whole contract saga. Obviously, he's garnered a lot of attention from the national media the past few days, as well as the local media, of course, as well. And that's really going to be the focus of today's show. Unlike the rest of training camp yesterday, JaMarr Chase was absent from the Bengals Tuesday practice. He has been there throughout the entirety of Bengals training camp, but of course hasn't been a participant. That changed yesterday when he was absent altogether. So really looking forward to diving into that with you guys on today's show. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button for us right now. We are trying to double our August 2023 subscriber total. The goal earlier in the month was just to beat that August 2023 subscriber number with that watch party last weekend. We really blew by that mark, and now we're trying to double it, and we're 109 subs away from making that happen. So hopefully we can do that before our upcoming watch party this Saturday. So help us out right now. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/BengalsTV. All right, so here are some notable points throughout this JaMarr Chase saga, we'll call it. Like I said at the top of the show, he was absent from yesterday's practice on August 13th, the first time that he has been absent from a Bengals training camp practice. During the voluntary sessions this offseason, he did not participate, and at the mandatory minicamp for veterans, he only participated in walkthroughs. And we haven't heard from JaMarr Chase. He has declined to speak to the media since the end of 2023. And Zac Taylor continues to say that things are going according to plan for Chase and the Bengals. And, Zac Taylor's gotten some, critiquing, I guess, for these comments. I don't blame him at all. What's he supposed to say, right? He just keeps saying that it's going according to plan, and that's exactly what I would be saying if I was Zac Taylor as well. I want to circle back to this quote from Mike Brown, who said this at the Bengals annual luncheon with the media several weeks ago, but I think it's important to kind of circle back to what exactly the Bengals owner had to say in regards to this situation. He said, well, we're going to try hard. If you were listing our guys 1-2, you just did it, and he knows that. We know it, but it has to get done. We have both this year and next year where we have rights to JaMarr, so maybe it'll take longer than we wish. I wish it were done, but I understand why it isn't, and it's part of the NFL of today. He's a key player next to Joe Burrow. He's our next one. He knows that. We know it. This may take a while. We're going to bend over backwards to get it done, and I can't tell you when. That leads us to the pinned comment of today's show. Will JaMarr Chase play week 1? Type Y for us if you believe he will. Type N for us if you think he will not be out there for the Bengals week 1 opener against the Patriots. It is the pinned comment of today's show. So if that ad comes here on YouTube, that's fine. Take advantage of it. Hop down in the comments section and let us know what you think. Okay, so here are kind of my thoughts on the whole situation. Look, there will always be issues during an offseason in the NFL, particularly if you have a good team. And that's, of course, what Cincinnati has. I think there's been kind of a collective groaning from the fan base like, oh, there's always something, right? In the past, it's been Joe Burrow being hurt, hasn't been able to participate in training camp. And we had the whole T. Higgins situation. That was kind of an ongoing process as well. There was some drama with Trey Hendrickson and his trade request. But these are things that just happen during an NFL offseason. There's never going to be a perfect offseason, so we just have to get used to it. This is just going to be something that happens on a year-in, year-out basis. Now, slow starts have been an issue for this Cincinnati Bengals team. I'm not really concerned about that this year at this point. One, because Joe Burrow's healthy. That's really the main thing. But when you look at the Bengals schedule, remember they have that fourth-place schedule. So, they 3 of their first 4 games are against the Patriots, Commanders, and Panthers. So, obviously it's the NFL. Anything can happen, but you would think the Bengals are going to be significant favorites in all 3 of those matchups. But I'm not really concerned about the lack of reps for JaMarr Chase. People, I think, have had this concern of, oh, he's missing all this training camp preseason. When he gets out there week 1, he's not going to look like himself. Well, remember, this is a guy that skipped his whole last year of college, and then he came into the NFL his first year and took the league by storm. So I'm not really worried about him not getting these reps. I think when he comes out there, he will be ready to go. And I still think that this deal gets done for Cincinnati, because you have to understand that if they just continue to push this off, they're just going to have to offer JaMarr Chase more and more money as the wide receiver market continues to grow and the salary cap continues to go up year after year. So this is going to be the cheapest they can get JaMarr Chase. So I think there really needs to be an urgency that it will get done. And also of note, Taylor said that it is day to day. And I think that's noteworthy, because that to me, kind of reading in between the lines a little bit here, but that to me sounds like there has been some negotiations going on between Chase's team and the organization, which of course is a positive thing. And I think the Bengals understand that this is going to be the cheapest they can get him. And I think there will be a sense of urgency as to trying to get this deal done before the regular season begins. So I do have confidence that it will at this point when we stand here on August 14th. Now, don't miss our second watch party. We had a great time with our first watch party when the Bengals took on the Buccaneers. We will be live with Bengals Bears coverage here on Saturday starting at 12:30, so don't miss out. Again, help us out. Hit that sub button. That's youtube.com/BengalsTV. So here are the highest paid wide receivers in terms of average per year. And I think JaMarr Chase is looking at this list and going, I'm better than all of these guys. I think you can make the argument that, you want to debate Justin Jefferson's better. That's fine, but I don't think there's really a debate that he's top two. Tyreek Hill perhaps as well. I'd probably put Hill in there. But those three guys are the best receivers in the league. So when you think about how much he's getting paid this year, he is really grossly underpaid when it comes to what his production is like and what it has been like throughout his first 3 years in the NFL. So I think he's going to want something that is certainly over the $100 million per year mark in terms of the guaranteed money. Whether he's going to need or want to break Justin Jefferson's amount, that remains to be seen. But I think at this point, JaMarr Chase certainly is going to want over $100 million, and I think he wants a big portion of that, probably I would say 60-70%. To be fully guaranteed, which actually leads us to what James Rapien had to say in regards to the Chase contract saga. He's got an incredible column up now on Sports Illustrated, so make sure you guys check that out if you haven't already. But here's what James said. He said Chase is probably looking for a 3-year extension worth $100+ million, with roughly 65% of it fully guaranteed. The Bengals are probably hoping to wait until next year or sign Chase to a 4-year extension. That would put him under contract for the next 6 seasons, which would not only align with Joe Burrow's current deal, but it would allow them to spread out the money over another season. Could they use that in negotiations, not to get a team-friendly discount, but to get Chase to sign a 4-year extension 1 year sooner than Jefferson did in Minnesota? That would be a huge benefit to the team. They could spread the money out over the next 6 seasons. Of course, guaranteed money is probably a big factor in negotiations. The Bengals aren't known for giving out guaranteed money after the first year of a contract. Burrow was the lone exception. And I certainly think Chase is worthy of another exception, right? This, isn't really how the Bengals have done business with Mike Brown. But I also think, based on the quote that we read from Mike Brown earlier on the show, he understands how important and significant JaMarr Chase is. And I have confidence that he'd be willing to make another exception and really bump that guaranteed money up at the beginning of JaMarr Chase's extension. And of course, right now, that's kind of what they're probably working out, I would presume. And I also wouldn't be surprised if this thing went to the buzzer, right? Bengals like wait until the last minute. I understand deadlines make deals. Week 1, that's a pretty significant deadline right there. And if you remember, they signed A.J. Green the Friday before the opener. That was the last time they were going out and really signing a high-caliber wide receiver to a big deal. But that was his 5th-year option season. So the only thing that I have to say is that it is a little bit different. People are kind of comparing this to CeeDee Lamb as well. But CeeDee Lamb, they're not in the same class here. Like, Chase really doesn't have a ton of leverage other than the fact that he's like, I'm worth a heck of a lot more than what I'm getting paid this coming year. I think a lot of the leverage does reside with the team, but if they're smart, they'll understand that, if we just continue to push this thing off, he's just going to continue to get more and more expensive each year. So there's got to be some urgency to get it done. And for the record, if it for some reason doesn't get done before week 1, which is certainly a possibility, I would be shocked if JaMarr Chase was not out there week 1. I don't think he's going to leave Joe Burrow and his teammates hanging like that. I would expect him to be out there playing regardless, but I don't think that's a risk that the Bengals are wanting to take. When you look at some other guys that were in this situation with Cincinnati, guys like, of course, T. Higgins, Jesse Bates is one that comes to mind. I think at that point, the organization kind of knew that they were in the driver's seat, and they knew the players would eventually come back. I don't think you want to necessarily risk it with JaMarr Chase because he certainly is a different caliber of player than any of the other guys previously mentioned. But I would be shocked if JaMarr Chase was not out there week 1. Once again, an opportunity for you guys to get involved with our show here on Bengals Breakdown. What is your concern level with the JaMarr Chase saga? Obviously, it took another step with him just not being at practice altogether yesterday. So do me a favor, scale it for us in the comments section. 1 to 10, what is your concern level with this JaMarr Chase contract saga? Before we get out of here, I want to give you a couple injury updates. Jake Browning is injured, has a rib issue. Zac Taylor didn't go into detail. He just said he will miss some time. Of course, we'll let you know if more developments kind of arise with the Jake Browning injury situation. I want to take a look at the Bengals quarterback depth chart here. It's been noteworthy that Jake Browning really kind of stunk up the joint the first preseason game, to put it lightly. But I don't think that performance is going to take anything away from him being the backup quarterback. In fact, I think he could do that 2 more times if he was playing. He's not going to be playing because of the rib issue, and I don't think that would change. I think what he did last year kind of has proven to the team that he's capable of being that backup for them. Woodside obviously played well, but Jake Brown is going to be the backup of this team, and we'll keep you updated when that rib issue gets figured out and what the latest details are. As far as who's going to be playing quarterback Saturday, it's going to be a lot of Logan Woodside and a lot of Rocky Lombardi. So we'll see how Zac Taylor splits up those reps. But really looking forward to seeing those two guys go out there and show what they can do. Also, Brad Robbins, the punter here for the Cincinnati Bengals, left practice after suffering a right hip injury during warm-ups. And this is also noteworthy. As we know, Robbins is in a punter competition with Ryan Rico. So we'll see how significant this is. It was significant enough for him to go back into the locker room during practice. So we'll see how he recovers from this injury, if he will be able to play at all in the remaining 2 preseason games. And, of course, we'll keep you updated on that. As far as where the punting battle currently stands, I thought Rico looked really good in the preseason game, but I also don't think he necessarily went out there and took the job. I think both those guys really were just fine, and that battle will continue throughout the rest of the preseason and training camp as well. Make sure you guys give me a follow over on Twitter at @StoneShields_. Got some good stuff posted to my page. And, of course, all of our Bengals videos will be posted there as well. So help me out. Give me a follow on Twitter at @StoneShields_.